world-class rider. You know, a lot of people aren't familiar, but he is so strong in the saddle and has a great presence. And Cody's Wish has done very little wrong except when stretching out. But the mile is definitely this horse's preferred distance, 7 furlongs to a mile. You see some massive graded wins for this horse. You know, definitely a horse of the year contender year in and year out. And I believe this will probably be this horse's last race. I don't think they'll push much more out of Cody's Wish, and definitely going to be a strong favorite. I'm kind of looking to try to beat this horse, and I'm going to try to beat the horse with Brad Cox, who is a phenomenal trainer and conditioner, Eclipse Award winner. He's going to his go-to guy, Florent Giroux, and these guys, they hit at a 26% clip throughout the year, and you're talking about 400 entries and combinations of Brad Cox and Florent Giroux. And this horse definitely is coming in off of a prime race at Churchill, winning at a mile in the ACAC, and a very nice race in my opinion. A high Ragozin number, you know, look at the time, 135-1, very solid. You know, definitely is going to be, if any of the horses to beat Cody's Wish, one of the top contenders. You know, you look at Charge It as well. You have Todd Pletcher and John Velasquez. This horse elected to skip the Classic and is going to the Dirt Mile. So also another contender there. But I believe it's kind of a two-horse race in my opinion. I think Cody's Wish is definitely going to be difficult to beat. And I'll take a stand with Zozos here, Bob.
I pretty much agree with Dwayne, and we should mention, if you have the sheets, the entries for tomorrow, there are 2 scratches out of the race. Number 2, Practical Move, tragically had a heart attack training just a few days, you know, into this race. I think, actually, I thought that was going to be the horse to beat. And then Algiers is also out. So this is only a 7-horse field. Scratch the 2 and the 7. And I'm in agreement with Dwayne on his top 2 and in the same order here. Cody's Wish is just a really super horse. He's 10 for 15 lifetime, but I really believe he's better around 1 turn. I think his best races are when he lags, and the 7/8 or the 1-turn miles are just perfect for him. It's a different ball game when you have to go around the 2nd turn. A lot of times horses will flatten out, especially horses with his style that are late runners coming from off the pace. I think Zozos has all the pace edge advantage in here, Dwayne. With the scratches, there's just not a lot of speed in here.
I agree.
This horse is very much of a tiger when he gets on the lead, and he's hard to get by. He's going to make the lead. He'll be the second choice. I'm thinking maybe Cody's going to be 3 or 4 to 5, and this horse is 5 to 2 or 3 to 1, but maybe that offers some value as the second choice. All the respect in the world for Brad Cox. As you mentioned, he does use Florent Giroux, who's a good gate jockey, and that's going to be perfect for this horse. So I'm going to take him in the same order, Dwayne. I like number 4, Zozos, over number 3, Cody's Wish. It's probably not a race that I would get too involved with just because it's a shorter field. I'm not sure there's going to be a huge amount of value in here, but I am playing in the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge, and unfortunately, you have to play 7 of the 9 races tomorrow, and I think this might be one where I just maybe go ahead and take my minimum in here and bet it on Zozos on the nose and try to get a play out of the way. So
Definitely.
I like the same one, Dwayne. I'll go ahead and start with the 4th race, which one of these impossible turf races, I thought. Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf going 1.25 miles. At Santa Anita, there's a slight downhill to start this race. It's on the hill, so they come downhill the first 100 yards or so, which, you know, makes it not quite a true 1.25 miles because you're starting a little bit of a downhill run, more like, you know, a mile and 3/16 maybe. The inside filly in Italian, you know what she's going to do. She's got one way to go. She's going to go the lead. She's going to take him as far as she can. Sometimes she lasts, sometimes she doesn't, but I'm a little bit questioning whether she wants to run quite 1.25 miles. I think 1.125 miles is a really good distance for her. You've got top-class Europeans coming in here. Warm Heart is a Grade 1 winner. You've got John Gosden's In Spiral, a Grade 1 winner. another Euro here on the outside that's a Grade 1 winner. So you have definitely a lot of class with these Europeans coming in. But I like a price in here a little bit, and it wouldn't be a super strong play for me, but the price is going to be right in here. It's 12 to 1 on the morning line. And I kind of like Lindy, the 7-horse in here with one of my favorite jockeys, Tyler Gaffalione. I watched Lindy's race last time out at Keeneland, and that was going 1 1/8 miles. She was gobbling up ground at the end of that race, running against Maj, who's going to be in the mile, and one of the favorites in the turf mile coming up later on this card. But I really like the way visually, I love the way Lindy was finishing. She's a 3-year-old filly going against some older, but she just, to me, is a real hard knocker. I think she's going to like this extra furlong. You know, with a closer or somebody coming from off the pace on the turf, you always have to worry about racing luck. Where are they going to be? Are they going to get blocked? Are they going to have to go wide? But I just think there's some value here in a very difficult race where there are just a number of top-class horses in here. It's an outstanding race, a field of 12. If I could get 12 to 1 on Lindy, and I might take a daily double from the 3rd race to the 4th race. Zozos to Lindy. If Zozos wins, I don't have to bet Lindy because I'm alive in the daily double, and you're going to get a lot of value there from a second choice to 12 to 1 on the morning line. So I'll take a little stab on number 7, Lindy. Very, very difficult.
Yeah, this is a difficult race. Bob is right. You look at it, the foreign presence is so massive in this race. You look at Inspiral, 2 Grade 1 back-to-back victories, just unbelievable. You get Frankie Dettori, too, who knows this course. Definitely one of the top world-class riders, and, he's going to end his career, actually, in the United States, to my knowledge. So, in Italian, like Bob said, from the rail definitely has to go. And, this has been a phenomenal racehorse, but I think, like Bob said, has to have the perfect distance and the right pace scenario. She's been getting caught this year. And, you've seen the move away from Irad Ortiz to Rosario. Rosario's definitely a top world-class rider, but I'm going to look elsewhere. I think she can control the pace, but the horse right outside of her, Warm Heart, another monster, won 2 Grade 1s in a row. You're getting more. You're getting Aidan O'Brien, that contingency. This horse is a 3 to 1 morning line and definitely has a massive, massive chance. So I'm liking Warm Heart a little in here. Also, I'm going to give a long shot. Look at this Didier. Vincent Chaminade went to Belmont Aqueduct today. He dominated. He was riding very well there. Now he's shipping himself all the way across the country back to California to ride this horse. And if you look at that last race, it is over the Santa Anita course. He's very familiar with this horse and definitely will have a presence in I feel, in the lane. Bob brings up a great point with Lindy. Lindy has Tyler Gaffalione, just a world-class rider right now, coming into his own in the United States. He's competing with the guys like Flavian Pratt, Irad Ortiz, Jose Ortiz, and this definitely is a horse coming 3rd off the layoff that does have a chance. So I'm trying to look away from the Europeans, but I definitely think this 2-horse, Warm Heart, is going to be very difficult to stop. Like I said, Aidan O'Brien, Ryan Moore, just a deadly combination if you guys are familiar with the foreign racing scene. O'Brien doesn't send any horses to the Breeders' Cup that he doesn't feel has a great chance. So I'll be probably betting the 2 and keying the 2 on top of Bob's horse. I'll definitely use the 7. I'm going to use Didier. Like I said, I really respect that racehorse just because it'll win over the course, which is the 9. And you have to use Irad and Chad Brown on the outside. McCulloch, been running very well, could pick up the pieces late.
5th race, the filly and mare sprint, going 7 furlongs on the dirt. And you have last year's returning champion, Goodnight Olive, in here. But she did draw the rail, and the rail at Santa Anita going 7/8 is not great. It's just really not the place you want to be, although she's not the type that's going to rush up there and get into an early speed duel. She does come from a little bit off the pace. Last time out, she couldn't get to Echo Zulu, who really dictated things on the front end. But, you know, she's a fantastic mare. She's 8 for 11 lifetime, 1.6 million in earnings, has never been off the board. You get IRAD. And I think there's going to be a legitimate pace in here because there's some California speed in here. Number 2, Clearly Unhinged for Michael McCarthy, is fast early. These horses all prepped in the race called the Chillingworth on September 29th. Ida was in there. Kirsten Bosch was in there. I thought of those 3. I really believed Clearly Unhinged ran better because she had to take heat. She put away Ida. She couldn't hold off the closer. So I think there is some legitimate speed in here. Society is a horse that's really getting a lot of buzz. I was out at Santa Anita a couple days this week, and all the clockers are really buzzing about Society. And, you know, she's good. She's sharp right now, comes off a couple massive wins. But I've also been on her, Dwayne, a few times where she really let me down, just with some non-efforts. I mean, just look at when she gets beat. 4th by 17, 7th by 17, 9th by 15, and then comes back the next time and wins by 10. So if you get in front of her, she doesn't really give you a whole lot. So I'm not sure. I don't have a big opinion in here. You have to respect Goodnight Olive. I'm not sure she's quite the mare she was last year.
Right.
Society is drawn outside, getting a lot of buzz. I don't think the California horses are really all that strong in here. Ida had rattled off 7 straight wins, and I kept trying to beat her every time. I'm stubborn that way. The numbers were never good. The margins were never very much. Just doing enough to win every time. And then last time when I finally said, she's a single today, she's a cinch at 3 to 5. You got third beaten 3 3/4 legs. So Ida's a hard one to read. Blinkers go on today. You know, again, you have to respect any horse that's won 8 out of 11. I don't know, Dwayne. I don't have a big opinion. How'd you see this race? Are you going to take the short price on Goodnight Olive or trying to beat her?
Well, it's like you said, Bob. You look at the 2 now horses that are really running lights out. The 7 Society, like you said, Steve Asmussen, Tyler Gaffalione again. 2 monstrous wins in a row, Ellis Park and Charlestown. So not major circuits, but real nice wins. And then you go to the far outside with Yagiri, and, you have another real nice horse. And Rodolfo Brissett had a great season this year, 25% trainer if you're not familiar with Brissett. And definitely you know that Ricardo Santana, he was first call back a few years ago for Steve Asmussen. He now is journeying, and he's really riding well this year. He's trying and earn his merit, and he has done a fabulous job. But when these 2 horses lose, the 7 and 9, they get beat, like Bob said. They get destroyed. Sometimes they don't even show up. So it's such a tough scenario to take a stand against you're getting Chad Brown, Irad Ortiz, and even though it's the rail, like Bob said, a very difficult scenario from the rail at 7 furlongs, you're getting a deadly combination and a solid racehorse. So I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket in this race. I'll probably key the one. Yeah, I'll take the short price, Bob, but I definitely think the outside, Yagiri, if runs to the level that she's been running, she could definitely make a stand, and definitely your other horse, Bob, Society, has a chance. Anything Gaffles is riding, Tyler Gaffalione, unbelievable right now, talent level this kid has. You got to watch. He's going to be one of the riders of the future, and when you have the combination with Steve Asmussen, a legend, definitely we know the horses that he's trained in the past, Eclipse award winner, and I think this is a tough race, but I'll stick with Chad Brown and Irad, my favorite combination.
Dwayne, I'm going to let you take a crack at the Breeders' Cup Mile. First of all, this is the turf version, mile on the turf, a race that I guess it's maybe been evenly split over the years. The Europeans have certainly done well, but we've had some great American milers as well, going back to Lure and
the Haas.
Royal Heroine, way back. So the Americans can win this race, but you've got a Japanese horse in here, in Songline, who's the morning line favorite. You've got Kalina in here coming in from Europe. You've got another Japanese horse, Win Carnelian, who's a big price in here, and Maj, who's a lot of people are liking off of her win in the Queen Elizabeth at Keeneland by making the lead that day and going a longer distance, so cutting back in distance. And a lot of people are very high on her. She did beat Lindy, the horse I kind of like, but I'm not so much sold on Maj. Dwayne, I'm going to let you take a crack, and then I'm going to maybe give out a couple American long shots in this race and go a little bit contrarian, because everybody's going to be on the Japanese and the European horses in here. I think there's a couple quality, 2 or 3 quality American horses that I think can outrun their odds. But Dwayne, you get first stab here at the mile.
Yeah, this is a very difficult race, and you know, I hate to keep giving out chalk, but this song line, I mean, I've been watching this horse. This is a Japanese freak. I mean, you go back the last race, okay, lost that last race, but the 2 prior were just phenomenal races, and this horse has immense talent. I just feel that this horse is going to take a lot of beating. But I'm like Bob. I always like to look for a long shot. You could start from the inside. We go to the 3-hole. Cascade. What a hard-nosed racehorse. I love this racehorse. Just runs fabulous, whether it's at Saratoga, whether it's at Belmont. You know, just a great racehorse. And even went, you know, to Kazakhstan there and ran second. So this horse definitely has a chance at, you know, at the top of his game. Luis Saez, we know Saez is a great rider. He's one of the top 5, in my opinion, in his country. He's starting to get healthy now. He's overcoming an injury that he had earlier in the season. So definitely, if you're looking for a price, 8-1 morning line, I think you'll get a little more. Like Bob said, the 6, Mau. Everybody's liking this horse right now, but I definitely think that Maj could get beat, possibly. You know, can't control the pace. I think this is a totally different scenario. I'm going to go also with another homebred, and Bob Baffert on the turf. Watch out for this du jour. What an immense run in the Del Mar race. That last race that the horse ran was just incredible. And I've been watching the workouts, Bob, and I'm hearing a great buzz about this horse. I mean, if you looked at the TVG workouts, this horse really is acclimated to his surroundings. And anywhere from 15 to 20 to 1, you have to put this horse in your exotics. I think this horse has an excellent chance. Those last 2 races at Del Mar were just phenomenal. 2 for 6 at Santa with 2 seconds. Definitely knows the Santa Anita race course as well. So if you're looking for a long shot, I think Baffert is definitely holding some cards here with the 8 du jour. Definitely going to take a lot to beat Songline. And the post on the 14. I mean, look at the 14 horse. Charles Appleby is one of the best conditioners in the world. And you're getting William Buick, who's another excellent foreign rider that comes here, wins Breeders' Cup races. Definitely, you look at those last 2 races are in this country. Went from Woodbine to Keeneland, so the horse has been on the mainland for a while. If that post doesn't hurt this horse, you definitely have a chance with Master of the Seas. I'm going to stick probably Key Songline, but definitely use the horses that I said. I will use Cascade, I will use du jour, I will go on the outside and use Master of Seas as well. But I think this Japanese horse is peaking at the right time, and it could carry that momentum from that last second-place finish and the 2 wins.
Yeah, I'm going to search for prices in here. Like I said, I'm going to go a little bit contrarian. I know the Japanese horse is very good. You've got some quality Europeans in here. One of them Dwayne did mention, and I was very impressed by the way Du Jour won at Del Mar last time. Really put it all together last time. And this is a horse who, you know, had ability back in 21, then went on a long losing streak, went to the sidelines a couple times. Generally, those kind of horses, as 5-year-olds, they just don't come back the same. But he has. His 2 wins at Del Mar were terrific, including last time where he just blew the field away. Now, maybe he's a little better at Del Mar. I don't know. He's run well here at Santa Anita. I think the price is crazy at 20 or 15 to 1 with Flavien Prat, who in my opinion is the best turf rider in the country and maybe one of the best I've ever seen. So you're going to get your price there. You're going to get a double-digit price. Baffert, not known as a turf trainer, but, you know, he's a great trainer. He can train anything. The other one I'm going to give out at a big price is a local Santa Anita horse named Exalted, who's number 12, and he's 20 to 1 on the morning line. This horse had rattled off 4 straight wins. Obviously, the competition level is much, much stronger today, but he did beat a horse named Iridio, who's a nice horse, and he beat Hong Kong Harry. Last time out, they laid him up, freshened him up from May through September, and he was second best behind Du Jour that day. I don't think he was totally cranked up, and I think he prefers Santa Anita. And one thing to note, these connections, Pete Urton's not a really nationally known trainer. Juan Hernandez has become the leading trainer, or leading rider, I should say, in Southern California since Flavian Pratt left. Look at their percentage together this year. These two are 54%.
Unbelievable.
For the year when Hernandez rides for Pete Urton.
56 at Santa.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's ridiculous, and the ROI is almost $5.
And I know Pete. He's very. This horse, I needed Iridio for so much that day, Bob, and this horse beat us. Definitely a nice horse. Bob
So
is
he's
right.
20-1, and I'm going to think he has some sort of outside chance. And Dwayne also mentioned Master of Seas, very, very good horse. His last race, he ran lights out. The post is a big concern. When you're stuck way out there, in turf racing, you have to be able to save ground at some point. That was the problem with the horse I liked today, the Cherie DeVoe. She was in the 11 post, and she never got out of the 4 path all the way around the race course. And you just can't win a turf race, or you have to be extremely exceptional to win a turf race that way. At some point, you need to save ground. So I'm not sure where or how the 14 will drop in and not get fanned too wide. This horse, comes from a little ways out of it, so he'll need some pace to where they spread out and he can drop in, but the 14 post is certainly no bargain in here. But just a couple long shots to look at that I think can at least hit the board for your exotics. Our number 8, Du Jour, number 12, Exalted, and I'll put the 14 Master of the Seas in the mix. And knowing farewell, maybe Songline's just going to be too much for these horses as the 5-2 favorite. But I'm going to look for American prices in here for race number 6. The 7th race, Dwayne, Breeders' Cup Distaff. And we've got a real sharp one in here who I think is going to take a lot of beating. I'll let you go first, Dwayne. But Idiomatic for Brad Cox is the 5-2 favorite. She's on a win streak. Seems to be doing everything right at this point in time. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely a monster. This is one of Brad Cox's highly touted horses, and he's very confident when I see the interviews of him talking about this horse, and she's really rolling now. This is a race where it could be, though, a very, very hot pace, in my opinion. So I'm going to take a flyer here. I'm going to go with the old school Clairiere, who actually I feel can definitely benefit from this pace. You look at it, Idiomatic is definitely going to be up there, Adair Manor as well. You know that Bob Baffert and Hernandez are going to want to really push this horse and, not let Idiomatic just get away and dominate this race. You have a horse like Search Results, who's really coming into form as well. Irad and Chad Brown, they're going to sit real close. So you look at this race, randomized, got to sit close. Everybody's going to sit close, and Clairiere is the closer. Now, the last few times Clairiere came into this race, she had a terrible personal ensign. So throw that out. You're looking at that last race at Saratoga. Maybe the horse just doesn't like Toga. That happens. Saratoga is the graveyard of favorites. Forgo I watched run dead last. You're up the track, never picked up his feet, and you could see in the comment, if you go way back, dislike going. Some horses just do not hate Saratoga. And, this horse now coming back, rounding into form at Santa Anita, could be a beneficiary of a very, very hot pace. There is not going to be an easy lead for Idiomatic. This horse likes to control the pace, but I think there's going to be a little more pace pressure out there. And you're going to get a real short price because, once again, you're talking about Cox and Giroux, that big combination. So I feel that this horse is very susceptible. Somebody's going to come and pick up the pieces late, and why not Joel and Clairiere? So, I definitely think this horse has a chance. Working, the works are okay, but this isn't a horse that goes lights out in the morning. I definitely feel that this horse has a chance if the pace, scenario develops like I feel it will. I think it's going to be very fast.
I will say that a couple clockers I talked to this week out at Santa Anita, they have been impressed by the way Clairier's been working over the racetrack. She's a 5-year-old boy. It seems like she's in the Breeders' Cup every year, doesn't it? She's been around forever. And she was really involved in a great race last year in the Distaff, where it was a 3-horse photo at Keeneland, Malathot, Blue Stripe. We're still having nightmares, right, Dwayne?
Yes.
And Clairier. Blue Stripe, who Dwayne and I both bet on, was, I think, 30 to 1.
Unbelievable, yeah.
And,
Hector Barrios.
I've been playing the races my whole life. You'd think I could handle
We didn't handle it that well.
You'd think I could handle the nose defeats a little better, but my hat went off my head and all the way across the race book to the other end as I was walking toward the TV the whole stretch run. I did not handle it like a champion, but it was a very, very tough beat.
Yes.
Very tough. My point was Clairier was right in that mix. It was an exciting race. She was coming on the outside of those horses. Seems like she's in the Breeders' Cup every year. Danced a lot of dances, won a lot of huge races. It wouldn't shock me for her to snap back with a really good effort. I think Dwayne makes a good point. A very honest pace is going to be lined up in here. Hoosier Philly from the rail probably wants to go. Adair Manor's a front runner. Search Results stays up close. Randomized stays up close. I'm thinking maybe Idiomatic can rate a little bit. You know, she has come from off the pace where she sat second at least even one time against a softer field at 2 to 5, rating 5th of 6 early. So, and you know, that was after a stumbling start.
Okay.
She'll be forwardly placed, but I'm not sure she has to have the lead. Maybe she's just the type that falls into a great spot right behind the speed. I think Idiomatic's going to take a lot of beating in here. She's sharp. She's doing great. Had a very easy prep last time in the Spinster. Still just got out on her own and won by 4 lengths. It was a paid workout. But if she doesn't get it done, and if Dwayne's right that the pace comes up too hot, I could see Clairier coming from off the pace. I respect Adair Manor, who's all racehorse. I don't think the California horses that she's been beating out here are all that great, but she's 7 for 13 lifetime with 4 seconds. I'll throw one more in the mix that I think from off the pace could be at least one to get a piece. Very honest, pretty mischievous, who's 7 for 10 lifetime. My guy Gaffleone rides, and she's a legitimate closer too, Dwayne. You know, so if the pace comes up good, she just first, second. I mean, there every single time. A 3-year-old who's never faced older, so that's definitely going to be a step up and a challenge. But she's also going to be a nice price. She's 8 to 1 on the morning line. So I'm not going to, on my pick 5, I'm not going to single Idiomatic. I'm going to use 4 horses in the race, and we will give out our pick 5 tickets. But I do think Idiomatic's the one to beat in here. All right, Dwayne, race number 8, the Turf, 1.5 miles on the grass, Europeans galore, outstanding field. I'm going to take a dartboard. I'm going to take darts in this one because
this is a tough one.
I don't know which Euro's,
Bob, it's
which
a tough
Euro's going to be better than the other one, but it seems like they win it almost every single year. Dwayne, what'd you think?
This is a very, very tough race, and I was going back and forth between 2 of the farm runners. I believe John Gosden has the upper hand in this race, the 9 Mostadif. Very nice horse. You look at the horse, the last 2 wins, the Judmont International, an unbelievable run there. And the race prior to that was another grade 1, the Prince of Wales. So these are prestigious races that this horse has won. And this is why you're seeing a 5 to 2 morning line. The horse definitely comes to run, and I feel is going to take a lot of beating. Ran in the Dubai Shima Classic as well. You probably saw that race on TV because the Dubai World Cup is televised. Equinox got the better of this horse in that race, but ever since then, I mean, the last 2 races have been unbelievable, and Gosden is one of the world-class conditioners. He is one of the top in the world, so do not sell John Gosden short. The other horse I was looking at was King of steal, another foreign runner, and definitely, you know, you're getting Frankie Dettori in the saddle. Like I said, he acclimated himself with the United States racing style. He was very effective when he was over in Southern California, and one of the top riders ever, basically, you know, rounding out his retirement here in the States, which is going to be fabulous. He rode the horse the last time in the Champion Stakes. There is a ton of room for improvement. This is a 3-year-old, and I've heard that this horse has been working pretty solidly, definitely likes the surroundings, and this is a tough, you know, definitely tough to navigate. 1.5 miles at Santa Anita is very, very difficult. It's not like the European courses. You know, you have several turns, definitely come into play, and you're going to have positioning in this 13-horse field. Also now, on the far outside, let's give the filly a little credit. Warlike Goddess, unbelievable how this horse continues and continues on. And once again, we talk about Junior Alvarado after that huge win in the Turf Classic, beating males. That was such a great run at Aqueduct, and definitely she showed that she still has a lot left in the tank. And this is going to be a very difficult race. You also have a Todd Pletcher runner who has done very little wrong, you know, in this race. Irad Ortiz up to the mark. Very difficult here, Bob. Like you said, this is one of those dartboard races where by default, I'm going to go with the 9-horse. I mean, you could choose almost anybody, guys. The 4 ran lights out last time. John Velasquez, you know, came into this country, ran unbelievably at Saratoga on a yielding course. Now, some of these horses that are foreigners like a little give in the course, which Santa Anita will not have. That's the whole factor, is you have to like that firm course. You have to take to that firm course. But this is definitely, like we said, a dartboard race. I'm going with the 9, though. I'm going to stick with John Gosden. I think he'll have this horse definitely ready to rumble. And the horse did win 2-back easily over a good course, which is basically a firm course overseas. So this horse definitely will like it firm. I'm going to stick with the 9. I'm going to use the 9 on top of, like I said, probably the 4, 11, and the bottom horse.
Yeah, very, very difficult, Dwayne. I can certainly see the horse you picked, Mostadef, who is the 5-2 favorite. You've got a horse named Auguste Rodin, who's 3-1, another good European. Kind of an interesting horse, though, where he either wins or, and then the times where he gets beat, 10th out of 10 and 12th out of 14th. So it's hard to figure sometimes why a horse throws in such a clunker. Maybe they don't like the ground or whatever. You've got Onesto in here, who was 3rd in the Arc at a big price back in October. Another horse that Dwayne mentioned, King of Steel, who won on Champions Day over at Ascot. That was Frankie Dettori, supposed to be his last ride over in Europe, and he goes out, of course, a winner, just steals the show. Very tough, up to the mark. Interesting that he goes in this race, because he comes out of a mile prep race where he ran so well, and he's never been this distance. I don't know if he'll go 1.5 miles, but he's a horse that's there every single time. And I wouldn't even dismiss, as Dwayne mentioned, the filly Warlike Goddess, who's beat the boys on many occasions, likes 1.5 miles, comes from out of it, but man, you know, she's tough as nails. So
Definitely.
this is a race where on my pick 5, I'm going to be 6 deep in here out of the 12 contenders. Scratch number 6, Get Smokin', who was a 30-1 shot on the line, but I'm going to use half the field in here on my pick 5, and you know, maybe you get a little value. Hopefully,
Yeah.
not get the favorite. When you spread out, you know, you generally get the favorite. So, tough race.
Yes,
Not
definitely.
one that I can really zero in on.
Definitely, without a doubt.
So, Dwayne, we've got the Classic coming up now as race number 9. And we've got 3 videotapes to watch in here. And it's kind of the 3 horses that Dwayne and I both landed on, not talking about the race. Of course, scratch number 1, Archangelo, from your sheet there. This horse was 7-2 and actually the second choice before the scratch last week. So, Dwayne, do you want to show the races first? We've got 3
Sure.
of them.
Yeah, let's definitely show the preps.
We're going to show the Dubai World Cup, where the Japanese horse Ushba Tesoro won. We're going to show the Pacific Classic, where Arabian Night won. And we're going to show the Whitney at Saratoga where White Abario won. So those are going to be the 3 morning line favorites. I can pull this up. We will get to these races. Let's start with Dubai, Dwayne. It goes back to, what, March. Yeah, March 25th. So what you're going to see here is this horse comes from dead last, basically. This beautiful, gorgeous Japanese horse who just looks like a monster on the track. As good a horse, as good looking a horse, I think, as you can ever see. So this horse is number 14. I'm not sure if they go in post position order here, but it won't be coming really running until the end, and there's a lot of different camera shots. But let's watch it, and then we'll talk about this horse.
They're off in the 27th Dubai World Cup. And it was a very good beginning for Ben Duke, who goes out to the early lead with T.O. Keynes to his inside. Salute the Soldier and Remorse are there.
Right now.
And there goes Panthalassa now, as expected, to join the fray on the far outside as they rush for that first turn. Panthalassa is going to be a little bit wide alongside of Remorse. These two are 1-2 into the turn. Salute the Soldier is running along in third. Ben Duke is fourth. Algiers is fifth to the outside of T.O. Keynes. Then it's Geoglyph. And there's Country Grammar right there on the outside, 7 lengths off the lead as they make their way to the backstretch. Then Super Corinto. Emblem Road is down on the inside. Cafe Faro is next. And then Villa Azul. June Lightbolt, Crown Pride. And the trailer is Mushba Tesoro. So up the backstretch they go in the Dubai World Cup. And it is Panthalassa and Remorse locked in an early battle here. Ben Duke is a length and a half off of them. Salute the Soldier, fourth on the inside. Right behind them is Algiers in fifth. Country Grammar is outside of horses. T.O. Keynes is down toward the rail. Villa Azul is in behind them, and then Geoglyph. So they make their way into the far turn. Remorse on the inside. Panthalassa is coming under pressure now. Ben Duke now draws up alongside, and the big guy Ben Duke moves up alongside of Remorse, and Algiers is on the move to the outside of them. And the 3 of them make their way to the top of the stretch. Country Grammar is fourth on the outside. They're into the stretch of the Dubai World Cup. Ben Duke, Algiers.
Far
These
outside.
2 turn for home 1-2. They're side by side with 3/16 of a mile to run. And from the back of the pack, here comes Ushba Tesoro with a rush on the far outside. Algiers to catch. Ushba Tesoro gains in, goes by. Ushba Tesoro hits the front. Ushba Tesoro wins the Dubai World Cup for Japan. Algiers and Emblem Road were in a...
Drinking warm water before bed shrinks a swollen prostate overnight. Thousands of men are regaining control of their bladders every night as they sleep.
So Dwayne, coming from last, winning the Dubai race. Now, what's interesting if you have a racing form on this horse, he runs his first 23 races on the turf course. He's 2 for 23 on the grass. They decide in April of 22, well, let's try this horse on the dirt. And since then, he's won 7 of 8 on the dirt, including a couple off tracks. I mean, he's just a completely different animal on the dirt track, winning, the richest race in the world, coming from far out of it. I think a definite contender.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, the Ragozin numbers are strong, too, for this horse. Definitely turned his career around by going on to the dirt. And that's such an accomplishment, I mean, to watch that race in the Dubai World Cup, to come from last. And I don't care what type of field you're running against. That was a beautiful, beautiful move. I mean, not an arrogant type move, but from last to first, and just kicked on under a hand ride in that last 100 yards. So this is definitely a horse that you have to keep your eye on, and definitely will take a lot of action, especially with Arcangelo out, Go Rocket Ride out. So many defections from this Breeders' Cup Classic. Not one of the Triple Crown horses is running in this race, the Triple Crown winners, I should say, from Mage on down to Arcangelo. So that was very surprising because everybody felt that the 3-year-olds had a massive presence. But we will see now the top 3-year-old in this race right now in the Pacific Classic.
Yeah, this is Arabian Night, trained by Bob Baffert. He's only had 4 lifetime starts. He's won 3 of them. He'll be number 9 in here and breaks sharp and kind of, makes the lead. This is a horse who he didn't even start running until November of last year, so he's a horse that doesn't have a lot of seasoning, but he's a horse that I know is doing extremely well. The clockers out at Santa Anita, one of them, Andy Harrington, who I have a lot of respect for, absolutely loves this horse, says he's trained better than any horse coming into the Breeders' Cup. I know Bob Baffert's high on him. He's got good tactical speed. Does he need the lead? I don't know. Brad Cox's horse, Saudi Crown, is plenty fast, too.
Very fast.
I think this horse might end up maybe having to sit second behind him, and we'll see if he can do that. So this is Arabian Night. He's number 9 here in the Pacific Classic.
Feel for the $1 million FanDuel Pacific Classic sent on their way. On the inside, Go Rocket Ride broke beautifully and goes straight to the lead. Being joined now by Arabian Night. 2 favorites, 1-2 in the early going. Pirelli is on the outside to join them. Slow Down Andy right there in the 4th position. Tripoli along the inside. Defunded in the red colors, 5 off them. They're not in that big a hurry out here. Order and Law behind that. Skinner is racing up alongside, a good 9 off the leaders. Stiletto Boy's been taken back towards the rear, and then Senor Buscador. They head to the 3/4 pole, and Arabian Night got an easy lead out here, just lopes them along by a length. Pirelli is racing in second. Go Rocket Ride third at the rail. Slow Down Andy's in 4th. On the far side, Defunded is 5 off the leader. Tripoli at the back of the leading group. Then a gap of 4 lengths back comes Skinner. Behind that, Order in Law, White Blinkers, a good 14 off the leaders. Alongside of that comes Stiletto Boy and Senor Buscador. A half mile left to go now. Still out on the lead, Arabian Night and Flavion Pratt taking them along by 1 length. Pirelli is trailing from second, and Go Rocket Ride at the rail in 3rd. Slow Down Andy now goes to take them on in the purple cap on the far side. Defunded is asked to go after them. Red colors extreme outside. Then comes Tripoli, and in behind Tripoli is Skinner. They are coming towards the quarter pole, and it is Arabian Night just in front, taken on by Slow Down Andy. Slow Down Andy now going looking for the lead. Arabian Night tries to stave him off. Go Rocket Ride chasing from 3rd. Skinner is running on late, and Senor Buscador down the center. Now Go Rocket Ride in the blue cap on the outside, coming gamely. Arabian Nights all hard battling on. Slow Down Andy, any one of these 3. It's Arabian Night hanging on. Go Rocket Ride. Arabian Night has won the Pacific Classic. Go Rocket Ride finished up in second. Slow Down Andy was next.
So what'd you think, Dwayne? I mean, it was a game race. I don't think that was a really strong field. Not the strongest field that we've ever seen, but the horse got the job done. I know they're very high on him, and definitely a contender.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, the horse, and you go back, Bob, you know what impressed me, why I bet Arabian Night in the Pacific Classic? If you go back to the Haskell, the race before where Go Rocket Ride beat the horse, if you look at the end of the race, now, granted, Go Rocket Ride and Mage were ahead of Arabian Night, but Arabian Night, I saw him like kick in again, and he was just, wrapped up in that race. That was just getting, a feel good. Then I don't think Go Rocket Ride was ever getting Arabian Night. You look at the angle, and it looks closer, but Delmar has that angle. He had a good half length still at the end and was kicking on. So this horse is definitely, this is Bob Baffert, guys. And we know what Bob brings to the table, especially in Southern California. Tested multiple times. I don't care who was in that field. Go Rocket Ride was in that field. That's a Haskell winner. And in the prior race, Mage and Go Rocket Ride. So this horse is definitely coming into his own, working out tremendously. Definitely going to take a lot of cash at the windows here because people now are getting a little confused on who to go with. You have these defections. A lot of people were riding on Arcangelo, that feel-good story of Jenna Antonucci. But that was pretty impressive, and I think the Haskell was just as impressive, even though finishing 3rd.
And now we'll go to the Whitney for our final video, and this is White Abario. And I knew Dwayne was going to like this horse because Dwayne likes Richard Dutrow, a trainer who was on the sidelines for 10 years, but an absolutely top-class trainer. He ended up getting this horse because Saffie Joseph horses were banned from running at Churchill Downs and then New York. So the owners made a decision, we need to give this horse to somebody who, you know, is not going to be on suspension and all the craziness that goes on in this game. White Abario is such an impressive winner of this race. He overpowers the field. I remember watching it on TV at Del Mar and said, now that's the Breeders' Cup Classic winner. The problem is that was on August 5th.
Right.
He's had some foot issues that have interrupted his training. He's been stopped and started a number of times at Santa Anita. The vet protocols are very, very strict.
Yes.
They put some glue on shoes, apparently, that were pinching his feet. Anyway, his last couple works have been sensational. People love the way he looks at Santa Anita. I would not put it past Dutrow to go ahead and get this horse fit for the 1.25 miles, despite not having run since August. So, Dwayne, let's watch this race. You won't miss this horse. He's almost pure white. And then I'll let you talk about it, and then I'm going to find our PowerPoints with our betting strategy for this race and so forth. So this is the Whitney, and this is White Abario, August 5th.
All set. And they're off. It was an awkward start for Cody's Wish, who is last. Giant Game and White Abario going out to vie for the early lead. And Zandon came away smoothly from the inside. Charge It in between horses. Last Samurai 3 lengths off the lead. And Cody's Wish will be at the back of the field, 5 lengths off the front-running Giant Game. And so Giant Game takes him through the first 1/4 mile in front by a 1/2 length. They went 24 2/5 seconds. White Abario is in second, and Last Samurai inches up 3 wide in third. Zandon is close up with just 2.5 lengths to make up, and Charge It racing in between horses. Cody's Wish is at the back. So Cody's Wish is more than 4 lengths off the lead, held by Giant Game. They went the half in 48 1/5 seconds. And it's Giant Game and Luis Saez in front, pressed by White Abario just a head away in second. Last Samurai, Zandon, Cody's Wish making an early move. There he goes. Cody's Wish goes by Charge It, who now trails as they move around the far turn. It's still Giant Game and White Abario. White Abario puts his gray head in front, coming to the 1/4 pole. Zandon's had a beautiful trip, angling out. Cody's Wish has a lot of work to do from there, and Charge It is trying to rally there at the top of the stretch in the Whitney, and White Abario is the leader narrowly over Giant Game. Zandon, Cody's Wish on the outside, still 4 lengths behind White Abario, who's running the race of his life. Look at White Abario and Arad Ortiz Jr. in a runaway. White Abario wins by almost 6 lengths. Zandon second. Photo for third. Cody's Wish.
Well, that's a lights out effort. That's what you call that. And Rick Dutrow was the poster boy of suspension for 10 years. There's so many different things going on with different trainers, and they chose to pick on Richard Dutrow. Now, the foot issues, like Bob said, he overcame them with Big Brown. He is a master conditioner. In my opinion, Rick Dutrow is one of the top trainers I've ever seen in my life. And he comes from a massive family lineage. His father was one of the best trainers on the East Coast, all over the country, trained King Swan, just an unbelievable trainer. His brother is a great trainer. And this horse ran a 4 on the Raggers and Sheets, as compared to the Japanese horse has a 7, Arabian Night has an 8, Brad Cox's horse has 8s and 9s. If he duplicates this effort, and this is not a questionable field, you see who was in it. Cody's Wish, Zandon, Charge It. That's 3 other Breeders' Cup contenders that he dominated in that race. And it was only the second time that Dutrow had the horse. Now, you know, he did ship after that race, the Whitney, all the way here to Santa Anita, and he's been here now for months at Santa Anita. And like Bob said, you know, under the watchful eye of the Santa Anita stewards, who don't see anything wrong with Bob Baffert, but, you know, once again, oh, he can't work this day, he can't work that day. You know, let me tell you something. If this horse brings its A game, it's lights out. It's going to be just like you saw right there And, you know, some other horses will be coming late, Zandon maybe, Senor Buscador, they'll be coming late to try and pick up the pieces. But this is a top training effort right now. And you get Irad the Great, who you guys know how I feel about Irad Ortiz. You know, all the dirty tactics, what everybody says. He just goes and tries to win every race that he has a mount in, similar to Angel Cadero back in the day. You know, a lot of people said he was a little roughhouse rider, but I just love that will to win. And Dutrow, and Richard Dutrow has won a Breeders' Cup Classic already. Don't forget about St. Liam, guys. He's won a Kentucky Derby. He has won every major race in the United States, and I think it will continue with this horse.
And so, Dwayne, here's your betting strategy. You're going to key White Abarrio with those 3 horses in the exact and the trifecta.
Yes, I am going to key White Abarrio, you know, definitely on top of the Japanese horse, Senor Buscador, and Arabian Night. I think those are the other contenders in this race. I'm going to take a slight stand against Saudi Crown because I think the horse really likes a wet track, but I definitely respect Brad Cox in his position as well. Do not sell him short. If you feel the price is right, you know, definitely you can make a wager on this horse. I think that White Abarrio will probably be the second choice, in my opinion, maybe the third choice. Arabian Night's going to take a ton, as well as the Japanese horse. But
Okay.
I would key White Abarrio in exactas and tries, and reverse for small.
I'm going to skip your pick 5. We'll come back to that, and I'll give out my classic picks. I've got Arabian Night on top. I've got White Abarrio second. I've got Ushba Tesoro, the Japanese horse, and then Saudi Crown. So I'm not very creative in here. I know those top 3 are going to be the 3 favorites in the race. Personally, I don't think it's a fantastic gambling race. Now, if you're going to take a stand on one of the 3 like Dwayne is, and very confidently so on White Abarrio, then you can make something out of the race. I'm not as confident just because of the time missed and so forth. The respect I have for, you know, what Baffert can do with Arabian Night, the respect I have for the Japanese horse in here. So I'm going to probably, you know, take the easy way out. I'll use actually all 4 of them in my pick 5, but we'll come back to that. So those are my classic picks. I don't really have a betting strategy in here. It's not a race that I would really attack maybe as an individual race. So, Dwayne, why don't we get to the last 2, then we'll come back with our pick 5 tickets. And I know we're very, very similar in the 10th race. This is the Turf Sprint. I never thought I would have a big opinion in this 5-furlong race, but I actually have one of my bigger opinions in here. I'm going to try to make my day end very strongly in the 10th and 11th race and do some damage in here. So, Dwayne, take it away. I know we're on the same 2 horses in here.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I'm going to take a chance in this race. I'm going to go with the 9 horse, Roses for Deborah. I like Christophe Clement, what he brings to the table. I love, you know, Irad Ortiz. I won't get into it again. But that last race, you know, was over a yielding course. And Parks plays very strange, Bob, when it's wet. That's a course where it gets very deep, and especially on the turf. And when you're looking at a yielding course, and this horse is coming off 4 monstrous victories prior to that from Pimlico, Belmont, Saratoga twice, where, you know, that's the world-class race meet in the United States. When you're that successful, and then you hit a wet track, and you're 50 cents, 70 cents on the dollar, you know, you look around the horse just because it's the first time on this yielding soft course, and it definitely took its toll. But at the price, I mean, 12-1 with Irad Ortiz, Christophe Clement, one of the world-class turf conditioners, you know, especially in the United States, I think this horse has an excellent, excellent chance. Now, right underneath, Flavien Prat, who is definitely the best turf rider right now in the country and loves to battle with Irad. If you watch, you know, whether it's they have 2 Chad Brown horses, they go at it. They definitely love the competition level. This horse, the Green Flash at Del Mar was so impressive, and I just saw that race again. And not that Gio Franco isn't a great rider, Giovanni Franco, but you're going now to Flavien Prat. Phil D'Amato, I mean, this guy could train anything with 4 legs. He is a monster. He will find a way to win on the turf as well. Just a beautifully conditioned animal. And what's so important with this animal, 5 starts, over the Santa Anita course, 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. Never has not hit the board at Santa Anita. I hear the workouts, Bob, have been phenomenal. Phenomenal.
I'm on the same too, and that's amazing for a wide open race like this. To go back to Dwayne's point on Roses for Deborah over that yielding course, that was a race that shouldn't have even been run.
Right.
I think they ended up taking races maybe off the grass at some point that day. But just look at the fractions. They went 23-4, 48-2. This is going 5 furlongs on the turf, 101 and 2. This course was 4 seconds slow, 5 seconds slow. It was a bog.
And you're right, Bob, because they took the races off the turf, and the park's rule, I would hit the pick 5 that day. You don't get all after the first leg was run, and they took them off the turf.
That's right.
That was
You got your original horses that you handicapped for turf, and
Right.
now are on the dirt. So
Right.
Another great racing rule. Just a little anecdote that, I spent some time out at Clocker's Corner this week just to kind of get a feel, and knew I was coming over here. And I'm not a guy who likes to get touted a lot. I like to do my own work and do the tapes and everything that I see. And I was talking to a jockey's agent who I'm not going to mention, but I'll just say he currently has 3 Hall of Famers, so you might be able to figure out who it is. He pulled me aside and he said, "I'm going to give you a winner on Saturday." He said, "I don't ride the horse. I wish I did. I don't have the mount on this horse." He said, "Roses for Deborah will win that race, the 5 furlong turf." He said she can lay close enough and then has that kick. Okay, good enough for me. The guy has had jockeys that have won 39 Breeders' Cup races, so that's a pretty good resume.
Is that all?
The other one I love is Motorious. I love this horse. Fires from off the pace. Pratt fits perfectly. The only time he didn't ride this horse well was in that turf sprint at Churchill Downs. He was so concerned about Big Invasion and keeping him locked in, they forgot the horse that was 5 lengths in front on the lead, and by the time he came finishing furiously, it was too late. I don't criticize Pratt too many times, but that was not his best ride. The pace will be hot. It's just going to be a matter of, again, who gets the trip, 5 furlongs. Roses for Deborah, I think, is a little more tactical than Motorious, but I think they're both going to fire. I'm going to play these two in the exacta, the tries, whatever. If you can get 5-1 and 12-1, bet them both to win as well. And then I'm going to go into the last race for my big single finale of the whole card, and my whole day is going to rest here in race number 11, which is the sprint. Dwayne, when we go through your pick 5, I know you're going to add this horse for tomorrow.
Yes.
with real money. I love number 7, Speedboat Beach, in this race. Now, you're going to have to beat a really, really top quality horse in elite power, who you have to have all the respect in the world for this horse. 8 for 12, Bill Mott, world-class trainer, Arad. But I really think this horse is a little bit, maybe would love to go 6.5 or 7 furlongs. There's just not all that much speed in here for the sprint. Last time out, Speedboat Beach made a comeback race. He'd been away for nearly a year. He had trained really well into that race, but it was just, to me, looked like a prep. Victor Espinosa rode him. He hardly ever rides for Baffert anymore. He sat there. He popped him. He just sat there 3 wide. He never really made an effort to try to clear off, and the horse got beat by Dr. Scheibel in a close finish. It was a great race. He was 12-1 on the morning line, I remember. He got bet down to 3-1 because he had trained so well. Well, he's trained great out of the race. Mike Smith takes over, and if they break running, you're going to see this horse 2 in front down the back stretch and 3 in front at the quarter pole. So if he can hold on, we'll find out. He's going to have to beat Elite Power. He's going to have to beat a Sharp Gunite. He's going to have to beat an ultimate pro, Calbred, in the Chosen Braun, who's 13 for 17 and 7 for 8 at Santa Anita. He lays it down every single time. Dr. Scheibel, very tough. So it's not an easy race, and I'm a little disappointed that the morning line only came back at 3-1. I really expected more like 5 to 9-2 on this horse. But I'm going to play doubles from that previous race. try to get alive to Speedboat Beach off of those 2 sprinters in the turf. And if I miss in that turf race, then I'm going to push the chips in and try to end the day in front-running style with Speedboat Beach.
Yeah, this is a nice horse. You brought it to my attention, Bob, definitely. And I guess the morning line odds maker there saw that October 22nd workout. That's what he's going on. I mean, the horse definitely, I did see that race, and Victor was kind of motionless in that race. Dr. Chevelle came around and, you know, did his thing, and he's definitely a tough horse. This is a very, very tough race. The whole thing, Speedboat Beach has to control the pace. He cannot let Ganite take it to him from the outside and really create this big pace scenario, because that's what Ganite is going to look to do, you know, get out there. That's how the horse was able to beat Elite Power, who is definitely a proven champion, without a doubt, a great horse. But if there is, you know, a pace scenario here, that would be it. Bob brought up the Chosen Vron. I just love this horse. I mean, 7 of 8 at Santa Anita, 7 victories. And the caliber of the horses that he beat in the last race, that was the top notch. That was definitely the icing on the cake for this horse. Now, don't get nervous when you see Hector Berrios. He's a great rider. He was definitely the victim in the distaff, like we said, with the Marcelo Polanco horse that we had tapped out on. And definitely he is a top rider. He's starting to come into his own, and he is going to be very difficult to beat, especially over this course. Cruel Jack is an excellent conditioner. I know the owner. He is so high on this horse. This is the pride and joy of the stable. The Chosen Vron is going to be very difficult to beat. Now, if this becomes a very, you know, sharp pace, don't throw out Dr. Chevelle. Definitely has a chance. Juan Hernandez, you know, it's going to be very difficult to watch him get shut out in Breeders' Cup races, because if you've been watching the Southern California riders and, you know, Juan Hernandez, JJ, is the top rider now with Flavion Pratt leaving, obviously. Hernandez is dominant, whether it's Del Mar, whether it's Santa Anita, and this horse will pick up the pieces. He's a wily veteran, but I'm going to go with the Chosen Vron. I think that his track record and the way he's been working out, they are just so high on this horse right now. I think that Elite Power and Ganite could be beat in this situation, and I believe Bob's horse is a top contender. So I will be using the Chosen Vron. And on this graphic, there is one mistake on the second leg. That's my mistake. I will go, let's start with race 7, and we will go over that mistake. My pick 5 here is races 7 through 11. So I will be using in race 7 the 4 Idiomatic. That is the Breeders' Cup Distaff. I will be using the 5 Adair Manor, 6 Search Results, 8 Randomize, and the 9 Clarier, who is my top pick. Now, my mistake in the second leg, I will be using the 9 and the 11. That's Mostadaf and King of Steel, the 2 foreign horses that I spoke about. So that's my mistake. Leg 2 is 9 and 11. The leg 3, I will be using only White Barrio and Usha Tesoro. I think one of those 2 wins the race. I'm very high. I almost singled White Barrio on this ticket, Bob, to be honest with you. Next race, like we discussed, me and Bob both like the 9 and the 10. Irad and Pratt, Roses for Deborah, Motorius. I think they're definitely the top 2 horses in the race. And also another correction now, Bob twisted my arm, so my ticket is going to become $100 because I will use Bob's horse. I will use the 2, the 6, the 7, and the 8. That's Dr. Chevelle. You know, definitely going to use the Chosen Vron. We're going to use Bob's horse, Speedboat Beach. And we're also going to use Elite Power and Ganite, just in case that, you know, fiery rivalry continues. So 50-cent increment there on that pick 5. It is $100, adding Bob in the last leg. And please note, I like the 9 and 11 in this second leg right here.
Okay, thank you, Dwayne. I'll put my ticket up now. I'm going to play a $96 ticket. So same races. Well, I put 5 through 11. That would be interesting. That would be a pick 7. So a little bit fatigued here, making some mistakes on the typos. So that should be races 7 through 11. And going to the 7th race, I'm going to go 4 deep in here. The 3, Pretty Mischievous. The 4, Idiomatic. The 5, Adair Manor. and the 9 Clairiere. So we're pretty similar in there, Dwayne. I spread out the 8 pretty deep. You're going to be brave and try to get by with 2 horses. I took numbers 2, 5, 8, 9, 11, and 13. I went 6 deep in that turf race. I don't have a great field there. The 9th race, the Classic, the 3 White Abarrio, the 6 Saudi Crown. I don't think he's good enough, but he is 12-1. Sometimes when you have 2 front runners, maybe one of them doesn't break, one of them doesn't get away, and then all of a sudden you have lone speed. That could be the case if Arabian Night didn't break. I'll use the 8, Ushba Tesoro, and the 12 rather, Arabian Night. Then the same 2 Dwayne has in the 10th, just the 9 Roses for Deborah and the 10 Motorious. And I'm going to live or die with a single in the last leg. That'll make it exciting to close out Breeders' Cup. Try to go wire to wire with Speedboat Beach. And if we can get to the wire there first, could cash a nice pick 5. So that's a $96 ticket. I'll be putting my sheet out tomorrow. I'll send it to Dwayne, and
Yes.
and he'll make copies, and hopefully we can get lucky and have another
Jose
wet
Ortiz,
my beak
right?
in there
Yeah,
at
yeah.
$49. But I
Wet
don't.
my beak. Unbelievable.
So that is pretty much the show, right, Dwayne?
Yes, yes.
If we have
And,
anybody that has questions.
Yeah. Any questions about any of the races? Anything? Just fire away. Okay, so we were very self-explanatory, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Thank you guys for joining us so much. We were a little off the beaten trail. Definitely going to get back into the Cascade Lounge without a doubt for the next seminar. Bob will be back. Just
Be
such
here
a
for the
pleasure to
Derby.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah, just such a pleasure to have you here, Bob. And like we said, we will have Bob Ike sheet in the race book tomorrow. Come and join us. It's going to be such a great time. We will have every race on the big screen, the 55-foot video wall. I could care less about college football when it's Breeders' Cup weekend. I don't care that they're pushing the last 2 onto Paramount. It's not the NFL, guys. Let's put it that way. My heart is always with the race book, without a doubt. Horse racing is prominent and definitely premier in my life. And I was talking to one of the principals, David Ross, and he said, I was telling Michael Gaughan and Michael Gaughan Jr., we had race numbers, and it's a part. You guys are a part of it. We had increases in 4 prime race months, whereas the state of Nevada was showing decreases. And that's how much I care about horse players. I take care of my horse players. That's what we pride everything on in the Rampart, and it's just a great thing. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Dwayne. Thanks for having me again. You do a great job out here. Great to see you guys, and let's cash some tickets tomorrow. Good luck.